We talked in the last lecture and other previous lectures about this concept called literals, where a literal is something that does not change in code and how it can actually be considered to be a constant. So constants are special values that we use inside our code to handle things that never change. For example, let's say you have something like a tax rate. So in Florida, it's 7%. So if you know that you're doing mathematics with numbers and you want to be able to multiply times the tax rate, if you just stuck zero point 0.7 or 0.07 inside your code, so let's pretend like we had something like this. So you were actually trying to add 7% to that. This number right here, while it is a literal constant, it has no meaning to the reader. They really don't know what this thing is. So we want to avoid using non-intuitive constants inside our code. So in this case, typically we declare constants first and then variables second. At least that's my style. So if you wanted a constant, the key word is const, and then whatever the type of the data is that you're going to be doing, and then the name of it. Now, for constants, the stylistic standard is to make all of the variable letters uppercase. So there you go. So that right there gives you the tax rate of 7%. Now, the reason we see this 1.07, for those of you who are a little weak on the mathematics side, is if you actually wanted to have a sales amount with an additional 7%, you need the original amount, the 100%, and then the added amount of the tax rate. So let's say the price of this thing is something we need, and then we're going to have the sales result. There we go. So now we've got tax rate, price, and sales result. So if we wanted to have the sales result, we need to, of course, come in here and give ourselves a price. And $19.99 special price. So our sales result, or the subtotal as you might want to call it, is going to be equal to the price times, and this is where we have to know a little bit about math. We don't have to do it exactly, but we should use parentheses. In this case, we have to do the addition first, because order of operations mandates that multiplication come first before addition. So there's our sales result. So we need these parentheses to tell it multiply this times the addition first. So do the addition, parentheses, and then do the multiplication. You may have heard the thing called PEMDAS, which is parentheses, multiplication, etc., that says this is the order in which we do things. It's not exact. If you go look up the actual C++ requirements, you'll see there are lots of things inside the order of operations. It's not purely left to right. There's a lot of ambiguity in some of those things too. But this is pretty much the right way. And there would be the result of taking our price and multiplying it times 1.07. And you'd get $21.38 and a fraction of a penny down here. No, we can't round this per se, not easily. We have to do with that. That'll come later on how to display results. But this gives you the idea that you can take doubles or integers or whatever and make these things constant so that it does not change. This makes the program easier. You can imagine, if you will, pretend this code had tens of thousands of lines of code, and you're writing it for just Dade County. And all of a sudden they say, hey, our tax rate is not 7%, it's 7.5%. Well, if you had hard-coded this 07 throughout your code, you'd have to go find every place that it was and change that to the new tax rate. If it's 7.5%, it would be this. So you can imagine how long that would take when you've got tens of thousands of lines of code. To make life easier for us, if you make it a constant up here at the very beginning of your code, and this is, again, the simplistic way of thinking about it, you now have sitting in your code the one place. They change it, you change one place, you recompile the code, and everything will work just fine. Now, You can see our price. Everything right now up until this point has been pretty much statically entered. The next lecture we'll talk a little bit about how to get stuff into your code that isn't typed in. A little less linear, a little more user input. So with that, you've now seen tax rates as constants. You've seen doubles and integers and all kinds of things going on. Now, the 1 is kind of an understood thing. Yeah, you could do this and make this a 1.075, but you might just sometimes want to display what's the subtotal of just the tax portion of it. If you look at most receipts, you'll see a tax line. So just think about it like that. And then once again, hope you're having fun. Keep coding.